Hello, Ezemy one, and welcome to a new series of Ezemy Solves that I've been thinking about doing for a while. It is, perhaps some of you were expecting this, Marty Sears's Rat Run series of puzzles, which, again, I have solved all of them already, but it has been quite a while, and I simply couldn't pass up the chance to solve these awesome puzzles again. There's quite a few of them, but we're starting right at the beginning with Primer. Experiment 1, Purple, 9th of June, 1974. Finks was chosen from an initial pool of 250 rats to participate in this multifaceted study. This orientation experiment has been designed to help Finks become familiar with the surroundings and rules. Normal 6x6 Sudoku rules apply. So yeah, it's a 6x6. You have 6 in each row, column, and box. The aim of the experiment: Finks the rat must reach the cupcake by finding a path through the maze. The path will be a snaking line that passes through the centers of cells without visiting any cell more than once, crossing itself, or passing through any of the walls. So we have to go from rat through the maze to the cupcake without any looping or branching or crossing anything like that. As well as moving orthogonally, with Finks may move diagonally if there's a 2x2 space in which to do so. May never pass through diagonally through the rounded ends or corners of a wall. So like this space, you can't go diagonally through, but down here, you could. Test constraint. In this experiment, any two cells that are adjacent along the correct path must sum to a prime number. Also, all digits that lie anywhere on the correct path within the same 3x2 box must sum to a prime number 2. So we are dealing exclusively with prime sums in this puzzle, on the line and in each box. So right off the bat, there are a few deductions we can make. Firstly, we can deduce that the path does not visit all 6 cells of a box in one go, because the sum of the digits 1 through 6 equals 21, which is not prime. So it cannot visit all 6 cells in a box in the same go. Now another thing we can look at is if we take the digits 1 through 6 and there are certain combinations of digits which the line cannot pass through, such as 1 to 3, those add up to 4. So we can eliminate some possibilities. In particular, the line can pass from 1 to 2, it can pass from 2 to 3, which makes 5, 3 to 5 makes 7, 4 to 5 adds up to 9, so that's not going to work. 5 to 6 is 11, and 6 to 1 is 7. Now other combinations, we have 1 to 4, which adds up to 5, and we have 5 to 2, which adds up to 7. So those seem to be the main connections which are possible between adjacent cells on the line. Some of you may know what else can happen here, but for now, let's just move this up here. Let's get solving. We already know all of the rules, so let's just get solving. The first thing we know is that the path cannot go through this way, because that would collect all 6 digits, which add up to 21, and thus will not work. It has to go through here, it has to go down this way then, and there is a few paths that allow it to visit all of the digits in some sequence, so we can't necessarily rule out any of the cells in every box or column or row. We know it has to end by going in that way. So another obvious thing we can note is that it does not curl directly around this way, because then it would, visit all 6 of these cells in one visit to that box. Well, actually, I guess it's not divided by visit. It's just all of the cells in that box combined. So even if it goes out and then comes back in, it would still have to collect it would still touch all 6 digits. So it cannot go that way. Just put that there too. So it has to come through here. It cannot touch this cell, which means it has to somehow get over here and then go this way. It means it also cannot touch that cell. And that means we have a funky diagonal connection. So let's look at all of these digits here. We might be able to deduce this because it has to be a prime digit. This sum has to be a prime sum that leaves out a single digit, which means it has to be between 15 and 21. So we have our two candidates are 17 and 19, and subtracting those from 21 gives us 4 and 2. So we have to leave off a 4 or a 2 from both of these lines. And it might be the same digit, but we don't know for sure. Like this one could just sum up to 19, and this one could sum up to 21. Or it could sum up to 17. But down here, there's a lot of room for doubt. And up here, it could go either this way or this way. And if it touches all 5 cells, then we have another 2 and a 4 here. Now, can we make a cycle by skipping out on 2 and 4? Because these digits all need to be consecutively somewhere on this line here. And if we leave out a 2, then it would have to go 3, 4, 1, 6, 5, which would put a 3 and a 5, or a 5 here. And it also has to follow this path. It has to connect to this path as well. So that means the problem here is the 3. Because this 3 can only connect to 2 or 4. Meaning that if we put a 3 here, well, I guess these two digits could be the same. If we put a 3 here, we could go 3, 4, 1, 6, 5, 4, 1, 6. Right, but then I guess this could be a 6. How do we generalize this? Because the chains are the important part. Okay, maybe it's worth analyzing the chain in a bit more detail. So, if we have a 4 missing, then our chain could be 3, 4, 1, 6, 5. And in fact, it has to. However, if there's a 2 missing. If there's a 4 missing, then the chain has to be 3, 2, 5, 6, 1, and the 1 can also connect to the 2. So it's sort of like a loop sort of thing. But either way, this 3 is on the end here. And I think that messes with things a little bit. So the endpoints for this one can be 3 and 5. The endpoints for this one can be 3, and then it can go 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1, or it can go 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5. 1, 3, and 5 are our options for these 4 cells. Now the problem comes in here, because if we have 1, 3, and 5 in these 3 cells, then that means that the only, well, actually it means that none of them can connect at all, because there's no connection between 1, 3, or 5. Or is there? Because there is one more sum that adds up to a prime number that isn't accounted for on this list, because this one is assuming that we are only using unique digits. But there's another possibility here. It's possible that we use 2 of the same digit. Now, 2 times pretty much anything is going to result in an even number, and most even numbers are not prime. But there is one even number that is prime, and that's 2. So in fact, there is one more line which it is possible to draw on this graph, and that's this one. One can connect to itself. And that is the trick at the heart of this puzzle. Now, from this one, we know that it has to be the 4s that are missing, because it has to include the 1 on the end of the chain. So in fact, both chains have to go 1, 6, 5, 2, 3. And then from the 3 has to connect to a 4 because there's a 2 here already. And then we have the core of this puzzle, and the rest of it should break down quite naturally. Now, for this box, we have already established that the only digits that can go into this gap are 2 or 5 if the path goes this way. But if it's a 2, it has to be the chain which ends in 3 or 5, and there's a 4 here, so the path has to go through this way. 4 can only connect to 1 or 3. 1 or 3 can only connect to 2, 4, or 6. Whoops. Let's see. These are 1, 5, and 6. 4, 1, 4, 3. If it goes 4, 3, could be 4, 3, 2. These cannot include 1 or 5, so they have to be, or 1 or 4, so they have to be 6, 5, or 2, 3, or 5, 2, I guess. 2 and 6 have to connect to 1, 3, or 5. So it has to be 3 or 5. That has to connect to 2, 4, or 6. 2 or 6. Huh, interesting. Right, because all of the 4s are basically set already. In fact, this one has to be a 4, and the last 4 is here. So this chain could be 4, 3, 2. 2 can only connect to, well, 2 can connect to either one. If it's 6, it has to connect to 5. If it's 6, 1, 4, 1, 6, 5. I don't know if we can actually use that to determine anything yet. Oh wait, no, it's the total. So we have a 4 here. And if it's 4, 1, 6, that adds up to 11, so that's fine. If it's 4, 3, 2, that adds up to 9, which doesn't work. And it can't be 4, 3, 6, because 3 and 6 don't work. So this has to be a 1. If it's 4, 1, 2, that adds up to 7, which is also fine. Because this is essentially 5 plus either 2 or 6. This is 2 and 3. 2 or 3 can connect to 1, 4, or 5. Oh, okay. So it has to be a 5, which can't connect to a 3. This is a 3, that's a 3. This is 2, 5, 6. Oh, right, there's a 5 up here. That's a 2, 6 pair, so that's the 1. These digits are 5 and 6. These 3 digits are 1, 2, and 3. Let's see. That's obviously fine. 7, 8, 9, 10. It can't connect to this, so it has to go through these cells somehow, which isn't especially surprising. This digit is 136, not a 1. This digit is 2, 5, 6. Interesting. So this 5 has to connect to a 2 or a 5. And in fact, it has to connect to this cell. Because both of the... Actually, no. Because it could be a 6 here. Yeah. These two digits have to be the same. Which I guess doesn't really narrow anything down. This 4 has to connect to a 1 or a 3. Maybe we do have to worry about this path down here. It can't connect to this cell, although I guess it could, like, wrap back around or something. But if it touches 5 cells in this box, it has to leave out a 2. Which I don't think is going to be possible. Well, no, it starts with a 4, so the chain wouldn't work. So what chain of 2 or more cells connects 5 and 4? It could be 5, 2, 3, 4. 5, 2, 3, 4. That would be fine. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't, because 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4 adds up to 9, which doesn't work. It could be 5, 6, 1, 4. So 5, 6, and 1. That would add up to 11, which I guess is fine. The other chain, are there any other chains that even work? I guess it could be like 5, 2, 1, 4, and 2, 1, 4 adds up to 7. 5, 2, 1, 4. That would work, I guess. I feel like there's something I'm missing from up here. I should be able to deduce. Go 6, 5, or 2, 5, or 3, 2. The only combination that doesn't work is 6, 3. And of course, that would break this down here anyways if it was 6, 3. What exactly am I missing here? There's nothing I can deduce by Sudoku. 6, 5, 2. Okay. That feels like it should have been an easier deduction. So if this digit is a 6, then this becomes a 5, this becomes a 2, this 2 and this 6, see this 2 and this 6 up here. So this has to be a 3. And everything else should just come apart. That's a 3, 5, 6, 5, 6, 6, 1. These are both 2. And before I put the final digit in, let's actually finish the path. So it has to go 4165. There we go. And that's it. Yippee! Sphinx is already showing tenacity and advanced cognitive abilities, ready to progress to a larger maze. And, well, that's the end of Rat Run 1. And hopefully I'll come back again on some other time to do the rest of these. There are quite a few of them. So I will see you next time with Rat Run 2 Tenacity. But until then, もうその時間でしょおやすみ